All stable owners are looking for revenue streams. And probably one of the best revenue streams, although the most complex revenue stream that will keep you gray-haired and busy the most, is having a productive lesson program running out of your facility. I've asked Archie Hurst to come and talk to us a little bit today and explain a little bit about his program. It's one of the best that I've ever seen. Just the way he runs it, some of his policies. And he's going to talk a little bit too about a new organization. They're not just in town, but they're around, who are renting arenas and doing public lesson programs. Archie.
I don't know how many people want to know about lesson program, but here goes. How many people actually do give lessons? How many that are trainers do lessons? It's not included in your training. Lessons are lessons and training is the other, unless you specify exactly what you're doing. So if you decide you want to do a lesson program, not necessarily do you have to do it yourself. But you want to also, if you're thinking about it, you want to know how big are you going to get? What do you want? What level are you willing to teach? Your commitment level, that's another one. That's a big one in the lesson program is that, consistency is a big thing. Can you achieve industry standard? That's becoming a big issue more and more in showing horses, or you're doing lesson programs or whatever. You do need to have some accreditation. You just can't open up and say, I'm a riding instructor. And what are your goals? That's the big thing. And this is what I'm going to do now is you are the first person that introduces them to the equine world. So make it a positive one. All right, so it's how do you maintain your clientele? Pardon? Am I too far? So what is your business plan? One thing is that we gotta protect ourselves. So the number one thing is insurance. You've got to have some liability insurance because you are liable when you do give a riding lesson program. And a lot of times the insurance companies want to know what accreditation you have. And so that's one of the things. If you're an Equine Canada coach that's recognized, they will give you some preferred costs on your insurance. If you're rented space, are you sure the owner has proper insurance? And additional insurance on your own policy. If you're having somebody come in that's going to do lessons at your place, you need to be listed on their policy to protect yourself. Okay? And boundaries. You've got to set out boundaries. And that's code of conduct. What you will accept, what you will not accept. And then also protect your personal life. So that's a big thing, is that I belong to a trainers network in the United States with instructors and everything, and a lot of times they're going, I'm done, I'm burned out, I just can't make it pay, I'm losing money, people are too much hassle. And that's why sometimes the equine industry is diminishing, is because out of all the people here, there weren't very many people that put up their hands for lessons. So that's a big problem in the equestrian world. And then how do you get started? Well, you need some lesson horses. So the thing is that Are you gonna buy them? Are you gonna use your own? Or are you going to lease a lesson horse? Are you gonna have somebody donate that horse? And the best way to make the most money is to have somebody donate their horse. But the other thing, when you donate the horse, you've got to turn around and have a legal agreement so that that person is not liable. Nobody wants to donate something in goodwill and then have it. Advertising is another thing that a lot of people have problems with. There's lots of times you can put out, at the feed stores or anywhere where horse people go, you can have that. You can do Facebook. Personally, right now, I don't advertise. I just am listed in Google, and that's it. It comes along. And yeah, word of mouth is another one, but that's a dangerous one because it can be positive or negative. So, it just depends on the person's experience. When are people available? Schedule lesson times. You got to understand that when they're free and they're coming to your place, you're not free. So you're not gonna have from 4 o'clock till 7 o'clock you're not gonna have that time unless you cancel. And that's a tough thing to do. And you need to get legal documents. I have a release form. There's Equine Canada has a release form, and no person, I do not accept any money. I don't accept any responsibility until such times as the release form is done, contact information is there, listing allergies, listing different things like that you need for their health. And in my lesson program, I sell a package of 10 riding lessons. That's the smallest one we do, and we charge up front. And they're non-returnable, non-refundable, and the lesson program goes on. You commit that you're there, they have to commit. And if there's not 24 hours notice, they get charged. So the thing is that that's just the way it is. You get people to commit, and if they can't commit to 10 riding lessons one time a week, then they're not very interested. And I give them 12 weeks to complete 10 riding lessons. So that's the invoicing, that's for sure. You make sure that you've got your lessons written down every time they arrive, or that they were late, or if anything happened to that child while you were giving lessons, you document it. Everything is documented. And make sure you use the use of a mentor. We all have the same problems, and sometimes I was listening to the last part about the stable owners, and we all have the same problems. So that's a big thing that you need to do. Are we on to maintaining your clientele? Everybody has a startup and everything is wonderful, but do you get them to sign again? It's just like when I ask people when they go on a holiday, would you go back? And they say, no, I wouldn't go back to that place, but I tried something else. Well, that's exactly what's going to happen with other people. When they ask by word of mouth, would you go back for riding lessons? You never know where it's coming from. And if you have an open lesson program, sometimes I have people that just walk into the barn and they want to turn around and sign up for lessons. They didn't call, they didn't text, they just showed up. So you have to be company ready. So to maintain a lesson program, you need to keep the students safe, number one. And they've got to have fun. And if that part is done, then they'll learn. You teach them what they need to know. And you need to make sure your communication skills are wide open. You cannot have a problem that you can't talk about. You're always there. And, teach the student to listen to the horse. Most of them don't. They just say, stupid horse. And so, lots of times I ask that student, what's that horse telling you? Do you have any idea? And sometimes when I give a lesson, I let the rider ride and I start commentating on the horse and what he's thinking. Oh my God, I wished you'd even out your stirrups. Carrying one side is just too hard. Oh my God, get off my mouth. And sometimes when you do that and you make it funny, they start to get into it and understanding. They buy into the program. And make sure that they achieve their goals. Like, what do you want? What do you want to learn here? If they don't have goals for it, how can you get them there? You can't. You're just going to assume. And the thing is that you need to make sure that you're credible. Everything that you say would say again. And I've had some kids that have come and they're disrespectful. And I tell them, look, one more time and you will get off that horse and you will walk that horse for the remainder of your lesson, and then you will leave and don't darken my door again. You do that once, you don't have to do it again. And where do you want to go from here? You want to grow? Number one thing, if you're growing, bigger is not always better. Matter of fact, that's when you burn yourself out. I can just do one more lesson. I can do one more day. I can do whatever. And you've got to keep enjoying what you do. I run a training stable as well, and I do lessons. And, sometimes people have different expectations than what I have. And so what I'll do is have a communication thing and say, I'm finding that, we're not on the same page. Your expectations and my expectations, they're not meshing. So the thing is that I want you to be successful. So am I meeting your expectations? And if I'm not, then find happiness elsewhere. Because the thing is that if they're not happy, they're not going to stay. So that makes it easier on you so you can continue to enjoy the job you do. And are you happy where you're at? Do you want to have students go on? Can you take those students further? And if you can't go further, then send it to someone who can. That's the worst thing you could be doing, is just keep holding that child back or that rider back. Let them advance, because they're going to stay in the industry if they do. Number one. And then, if you think you're going to make a lot of money, you're not. You are giving back to the industry. That's the way I look at it. The industry's been very good to me. I had people that helped me when I started out, and I was very fortunate to get a lot of good help. And for people that want to stay in the industry, I'll do anything. That's number one. If you own your facility and you don't want to teach, give someone else the opportunity. No matter what, I'm going to talk about a program that's at our stable. And it's very simple and it's wonderful. And the thing is that make sure at all times you protect yourself. Because it's nothing worse than somebody coming in and you're giving a lesson. It could be the neighbor kid down the road that wants to come and take a lesson from you. Do you sign a release form? Do you have the insurance to do it? Because if you do take that lesson and that child does get hurt and it ends up being paralyzed, they are going to sue you. They have to. because that's the kind of thing that they have to look after, is that child's life. So the thing is you better have that insurance policy there. And for myself, when I've been teaching so long and I do 60 lessons a week, when someone's just doing one lesson, I can go back and say, these are the kind of students that I had, and I never had a problem, touch wood. And then the thing is that when you're just the one person, you actually are more liable than people understand. So the thing is that that's one thing that you need to do, and you need to document everything, especially incidents. If I have a child fall off, I don't say, oh, he's fine. I always tell him, I think the fall was good, but I suggest you take him to the hospital. The parents have the right to say, I don't think it's no problem, but at least I make that suggestion. I am not a doctor. I have first aid and that kind of stuff, but strange things can happen. Now, I was doing an awful lot of lessons, and I'm getting up there in age, and I was approached by this organization called Clip Clop. I don't know if you've seen any of the bus signs that say there's a riding program there, or on the highway there's one there. They started out in Calgary, and they have 250 students there. That's how big it got. And they have franchised this company, and they own the rights. But the thing is that they come into my facility. They have listed me as in their insurance policy. They're all legal documents are all there. Everything else. I cut back maybe about 15 lessons a week, and by the time that I board their horses for them, and by the time they pay the arena rental and everything, I'm not losing any money. I'm actually making some. So the thing is that that's where, if you have a arena time to give, and you help somebody out to do it, and they're qualified, why not? We need to get more people involved. And in Clip Clop, they call it walk and shuffle. That's all they do. They've got horses that are donated. They look after them very, very well. The kids come, they have TAs with each child, and they have what they call buddy horses that are basically mannequins. And they teach the child how to put a halter on without biting the horse. They teach them how to put a bridle on, how to put a saddle on, how to mount properly, this sort of thing. And then they're taught how to steer, but they're all supervised by TAs. And those TAs get an opportunity to get a free lesson after so many hours. So it works out really well, and it's something where I can reach more people in less time. I may have 10 kids under the age of 10, but they have 30, 40 that are under the age of 10. And they're reaching out, they're giving them a positive experience. It's not a compete. Their lesson program does not compete with mine. Actually, it's helped. Because the thing is that I tell them, are you wanting to do a recreational program, or are you wanting to do a competitive program? I do the competitive, they do the recreational. And so the thing is a lot of them will say, oh, I want to compete. I want them to compete. Well, then fine, you're entering in a different area. And so therefore you can fast track that even faster than you can if you're on the recreational program and trying to convince them to move on to the competitive side. So it's non-compete. Whenever those kids get that they want more, they just walk on over to my place. And it's in the same place, we just sign documents, and it works out very well. But it encourages your stable to be busier. It really does. And it's a wonderful program. We watched it for a year, and then we agreed to bring it into this area. Where it's gonna go from there, I don't know. But the thing is that if you have someone that is good with kids and knows the basics of safety, they are great instructors. They really are. I have some TAs that are working in Clip-Clop, and they're my students that I've taught, and they're now earning time. The only thing is that the owner of this says, you know, your kids are way more advanced in this Clip-Clop program, so we're going to pay them some money so they can continue taking lessons from you. And they pay it to us, not to the child. So that part works out really well. If anybody needs any questions at all, pretty simple.
Any questions for Archie?
Just so people know too, EC is definitely your Canadian body, but CHA, if you're doing beginner and intermediate lessons, also gives breaks on insurance as well within your organization. It's a little bit more obtainable and easier to obtain if you have a basic knowledge already. If you're not going the competitive route. If you have questions about that, I'm actually your Alberta rep for CHA, so please ask me and connect with me on that. As we're just learning and growing with the lesson programs.
Yeah, especially that they work out very well and it's very quick. I think it's a day or two.
5 days, maybe.
5 days?
5 days.
That you get tested.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I haven't been involved in that one. I was brought in from Equine Canada to help on the show end and on the saddle seat program.
Yeah.
So I never ventured that way, but I do know several people that are showing and teaching lessons that have that accreditation. The one thing I ask you is if you have that accreditation and you take them to an Equine Canada show, are you allowed to coach?
Yeah, we have a level 2 or higher, and we're in the process of working with Equine Canada to figure that process out as provincial reps across the country right now.
Yeah.
So
I can tell you, I'm an Equine Canada coach and I certify people. And you know what? I think that program could be so much better. And you know, you're always doing something with them. They don't leave you alone. And so that part gets up there a lot. Anybody else with a question?
We're done.
Well, if you have any questions or whatever, you can Google me. I help a lot of, I mentor a lot of other riding instructors all the time, and I love doing it. So I just wish there were more people that would dedicate some time to the lessons, because that's where our industry will grow. That's the grassroots. And if you don't do that, it's gonna die. We don't have grandpas, we don't have aunts and uncles that the kids can go to the farm. This is what this Clip-Clop program is doing, because they're safe, they can come, they have no clue as to what they're doing, they don't know the front end from the back end, but they get them introduced into it, and it's starting to roll over. So, which I think is a good thing. So, well, thank you for your time, and